right. Well, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you guys are. We want to welcome you to the One Tree Podcast with Pastor B.Wade. I'm so glad that you guys are with us today as we continue to move on and make things happen. Today we got two special guests with us actually. We have Vincent and Joy Briscoe, two great ministers, pastors in the gospel, and so we're excited to have them with us. They're going to share with us a little bit about their seminar, their webinar that they're doing the next couple of days, and they're going to share with us some of those principles about that webinar. They have a webinar that is entitled Will He Die for You Masterclass, which sounds very, very interesting. So I'm going to welcome Joy and Vincent Briscoe, and you guys, thank you for joining us on the podcast. We appreciate it.
Wow, thank you so much for having us. Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Thank
Glad
you.
to be with you.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, guys, we have this webinar that you guys are doing the next couple of days. My church has been an honor and blessing to be able to partner with you guys as you're presenting this and sharing the
Thank you.
information with everybody. As we're getting out to our church and putting it on our Facebook and everywhere else that we can to plug it. Talk to us about the title within itself is just very interesting. Will He Die for You Masterclass? Kind of break that down for me. What does the title mean? What are we talking about in this seminar, this webinar? What's going on here?
All right, so I'm going to get us jumped off real quick.
Yeah.
For years, Joy and myself have done marriage counseling, and we've done everything marriage. And some friends of ours asked us, well, are you going to do anything for the singles? And so as we considered what could we do for the singles, the ladies really popped out to myself, and I shared it with Joy, that one of the issues I find is that if a man will not die for his wife, inevitably she may end up dying for him. And what that really means is it's not a physical death, but hopefully it's not a physical death.
That's right.
Hopefully.
Okay.
But it could end up being your hopes, your dreams,
Mm.
what you hoped for your family, how you saw your children being raised. All those things can pass away if you're not married to a man that is willing to lay down his life for you. And that's a unique thing these days because many of us as men, we were raised that a woman was supposed to be a servant for us, that somehow we were going to find somebody who would cook our meals and fold our clothes. And I think both you and I know, Pastor Wade, that that's not really how the transaction is supposed to be laid out for us. If we really look in Scripture, it's not the woman who lays down, but it's the man who is supposed to lay down his life for her as a representation of Christ's love and passion for his church.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we'll get into this now. I'm already amped up. So I got my questions already. This was my first question. This ain't nothing scripted. This is my first question for you though. Why is it important that you got women asking you do a class with the singles, all these things. Why as a man should I die for a woman? Like you said something about Christ. Break that down for me. Why should I die for this lady?
Go ahead. You want to?
Yeah, you take the hard questions, baby.
Let's see. If we look at Scripture, when we look there, the wife is really supposed to respond to the husband as the church would respond to Christ. And the husband is supposed to be the example of Christ. And Christ laid down his life for her. And so when we talk about will he die for you, will he oftentimes prefer you over his own desires? Will he, I love how my husband, he says that God is sharing me with him, which means that he has to share me with God. And so if we're going to talk about how, my life, yes, the man is the head of the household, but my husband often says, my life does not belong to him. My life belongs to God. And so when we talk about why should the man lay down his life for the woman, because Christ laid down his life for the church. And he is the best example to her of what sacrifice really means. And so oftentimes we duplicate back to you what we have seen, what you believe sacrifice is. So a lot of times we are the mirror of your way of sacrifice when we really need to examine how are we sacrificing, because the Bible talks about we all should serve one another. And so, yeah, when my husband, let me just use this example. When my husband we're doing lunch together and he gets up and goes sit on the sofa and leaves the plate and things like that. That's a big thing for women. Leaves the plate and things like that.
And I do that.
And the question is, were you intending because you just thought I was to serve you? Or did you really just get up and leave it? And so, that we come into that a lot of times because, of course, when he's in between working from the house and he leaves his plate, of course, I'm going to jump in, serve him. Even when he leaves it, when he goes to the sofa, I'm going to jump in and serve him.
Yes.
But it's a more of an attitude versus what we are doing for each other. It's an attitude that you're supposed to do this for me versus let's just serve one another.
Yep. And it's huge when you start to think about. I'm sorry.
Okay, I know you guys are tweaking that Wi-Fi. You might want to turn that back on. We're getting a little buffery over here. Quick. So flip that switch back on. I want to make sure, even if we don't, I'd rather take however you guys think you guys look, so we can make sure we get a clear sound as we're going through. So I'd rather take that, and that sounds a little bit clearer. So I'm tracking with you, Joy. Sitting I'm sorry, can I call you Joy? I know we know each other, but I need to pass
That's
Joy.
how we know each other. We respect where God has taken each other, but we're brothers and sisters first, and so that's fine.
We've known each other. Yeah, we've known each other a long time, y'all. So I'm sorry, but I'm trying to keep it in the bucket. Pastor Joy,
right?
What you were saying was when Vince has this sandwich, Pastor Briscoe, Pastor Vince has this sandwich. He's over here eating the sandwich, puts his plate down.
Yep.
Goes back to the couch. You're looking at him like, well, what we doing? Why why is that thing so significant for you as a woman to be like, dude, you didn't grab your plate, you didn't clean it up? Why is that so significant for you?
Yeah, you know what? And it's this way for a lot of women. I coach wives. Mm-hmm. And like I said, it's more of the attitude. It's not because you just left your plate. If you just left it, then you just left your plate. But there are men with attitudes that just believe you are subservient to me. I am superior. You are to serve me hand and foot all day long. If I say it's time to go, it's time to go. No matter if you're in a conversation, talking, ministering, counseling somebody, I said it was time to go. Mm-hmm. And so it's not the plate, it's the attitude behind the plate. If you get up thinking that I have nothing else to do with my day but to just pick up behind you, it's the attitude. It's not the plate. Yeah.
Yeah. And if you look at the example that we're supposed to follow as husbands, Christ is the husband to the church. Mm-hmm. And Jesus said, I did not come to be served, but I came to serve.
Yeah.
And so if that's Christ's attitude towards his bride, then we should be looking to be what Christ was to our bride. Mm-hmm. And so I know that's a flip of a switch for men, because that's just not what we were brought up. We were brought up to be the king of the castle. Right. But we got to remember that the king of the castle came to serve. That's what Jesus is. He is King of Kings. He is Lord of Lords. And yet his example was to lay down his life for us. Mm-hmm. And it's not that we go without benefits. Come on. The church is supposed to love Christ. Exactly. The church is supposed to revere him. The church is supposed to respect him. So there are some responsibilities that come for the woman who's looking for a husband.
Right.
There are some things.
Right.
Yeah. But the reality of it is, the husband's destiny was not to be served. We are to serve.
So, question, y'all. Y'all gonna be mad at me by the end of this, but let's go. Let's get into it. So here we go. I've been watching all these. You just start scrolling, and one of my favorite things to watch is the balloon pop show. I don't know if you guys seen this, where it's all
Yes,
these
I have.
single, yeah, it's five, six single guys and one lady, and she pops that balloon, or vice versa is all the ladies and the guy. And so I watch this, and I shake my head, I just laugh at it. Sometimes I'm just my mouth's wide open in disbelief because what I'm hearing from this show and other dating shows now is that the women are saying, "What can you do for me?" That is the big
Oh,
question.
yeah.
You got to have a certain salary. You got to be able to take me somewhere. I think last year there was maybe a year and a half ago there was a list of the top 30 places you can't take me out to on a first date. Can't go to Cheesecake Factory. Can't go to all these places they had on the list that you can't take me to. The question that women are asking a lot more, or that I'm seeing more viral response is, "What can you do for me?" And so, Vince, you're talking about Pastor Briscoe. You're talking about a man is to lie down and die for his wife. There's these women that have this attitude that you're supposed to be doing everything for me now anyway. So how
Mm.
with that connection? So how do you what's the seeds that need to be planted in that woman's heart and mind for her to understand there's a certain way to be served versus what can you do for me, and what do you do to get a man to understand nowadays, because I men the studies are right now that men are really turning away from they'd rather be alone than be with a
Hmm.
woman because they're requesting that all those things. So what seed do we plant in a man's heart and in his spirit to help him understand that yes, there are women that's asking, "Gimme, gimme, gimme, gimme." This is how you need to respond to that and find the particular woman that's asking the right questions the right way. I told we're gonna get dirty today. I'm sorry, y'all, but this is good
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. I like it. I'm on with this. Yeah.
So, so y'all save me if I get myself buried here.
Okay.
But the first thing I would say is this: anybody that's looking to be married from a selfish point of view shouldn't be married in the first place.
Right.
So if you're entering into marriage because you are in it for yourself,
Yeah.
you need to stay single, because that's why there's so much pain inside of the union, is because if both of us are looking to take, it is going to be a painful experience. It is when both of you come into the relationship looking for the perspective of what can I give? What could I add to this human being to make their life complete?
Right.
When both of us are at it from that perspective, that's how you have a 33-year marriage.
Right.
There's no way in the world, if my wife was looking to get something out of me, would she be satisfied with this particular relationship? Mm-hmm. And if I was looking to take from joy, and if I was looking for joy to give to me, then I would be out of the relationship, because we both have situations where we need something from the other person. Right. And because we are working diligently to serve that need, that's how the relationship works. So if we pop in balloons, you might as well not even come on the show, because you're not going to find
Right.
a human being
Right.
who can be everything that you're looking for. What you're looking for is a partnership where both of us make the other person better. Now, Pastor Joy, fix what I just said, please.
No, I think, and especially on Pastor Brian's show, I think you said it perfectly on here. I would only just add, because I think it was just perfect. One of the
Yeah.
things that we're going to do in this masterclass is we're going to talk about the depth, the essence. Why do you want to be married? We're going to talk about, because if you're just looking for somebody to take you somewhere, one, you need to learn how to take yourself somewhere, to Cheesecake Factory, to all of these places. Marriage is not about who can take me somewhere. Marriage, we want to deal with the depth of everything. We want to deal with the essence of everything. We want to deal with, why were you really created to be here? Because the man who is for you helps to match the creativity. When I understand my purpose, I can have conversations with you about where I'm headed, what I like in life, we're talking lifelong commitment, then I need to know an idea of my life. Because you might be a good man, but you might not be the right man for me and where my life
Yeah.
is going. And this is why marriages go bad, because they haven't dealt with the essence of who you really are, where you're headed, so that we can see, are we compatible for each other? Are we, my husband and I, we had conversation before babies were even on the scene when we were dating. Yep. No matter what career, no matter where I was, I knew I wanted to come home with my kids.
Okay.
We didn't even have kids then. But because he was raised by a mother who stayed home with him, it was very familiar to him.
Gotcha.
So when I left my career, we were living with family members. It made no sense for me to come home, but my child needed me. And the minute I came home, because he and I were in one accord, we purchased a car, went and got a townhouse. Yep. When I left the work field, because we were in sync and in unity.
Yep. And I'll just say this. I'm sorry.
Were you going to say something?
No, go ahead. I'm learning. I'm to be quiet. No, go ahead.
You learning, okay.
and I guess one of the things that I think you really have to, what it really comes down to is this: the discerning woman understands that she is investigating when she's dating.
That's right.
Versus getting caught in her feelings. If a woman allows her feelings to make the decision, and Pastor Brian, you can edit some of this stuff out that I'm about to say if you need to. But if a man is great in bed, okay, he might be great in bed. He might rock your world, but he can also destroy your world, because being great in bed does not mean he's good for your life.
Right.
And so just want to bring it right home. You know, I hate to say it, but the church folk is sleeping around sometimes worse than the folks in the world. It is amazing how raggedy we get in dating. And what ends up happening is we are so clouded in our judgment because emotions have taken over, that now we can't investigate any longer. Because we've allowed some things to get in the way. A lady needs to investigate family relationships. She needs to investigate his finances. She needs to investigate his emotional stability. I know I'm giving away too much of Saturday right now, but she needs to be an investigator instead of a person who gets swept away. Because once you're swept away, you'll start to go for anything. And you need to be in your clarity of mind, because like we talked about, you need to be able to make a forever decision.
Right.
And the fun guy, the party guy, is not the guy that you want to spend the rest of your life with. Because when the party's over, you need to know how he responds to stress.
Yeah. No, I think this is good. Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, so I love how you gave me a few things from what the woman needs to investigate. Pastor Joy, can you give me three things? I want you to give me the whole seminar. Give me three things that a man needs to investigate. Pastor Vince gave me three or four things. Can you give me three or four things that a man needs to investigate?
Absolutely.
Mercy.
A man needs to investigate how she handles her growth, how she handles situations. Is she able to be mature about things? Has she grown to that level? How she handles her family life.
Okay.
Because her family life is a clear indicator. I have women right now who I'm coaching, and actually, let me just start with myself. When I wasn't healed from certain situations, I kept saying, There's no good men out there. But really, the man needs to take a look at how healthy is she, her heart. Because the Bible tells us that a husband can safely trust the heart of his wife. But if our heart is not healed, it is not trustworthy.
Hmm. I sure hope we got that on camera. I hope we
Rolling,
recorded
brother.
that part.
Yeah, we rolling.
Mm.
So what I've heard recently is there's two words that get thrown out um by women that I hear quite frequently now. One of them is narcissistic. That's
Yeah.
that's the
Mm-hmm.
that's the big word. He's narcissistic, and the other
Yes.
one is he's not emotionally intelligent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Um, and so I just say phrases because that's more than one word. It's phrases narcissistic or he's not
Yeah.
emotionally intelligent. When I think what I'm starting to realize is emotionally intelligent. There are some guys that don't know how to speak and communicate. They don't know how to respond. Besides, I heard you. Okay, yeah, all right. They don't know how to have dialogue and conversation. What I've also noticed is that women have run into so many guys that are not emotionally intelligent that that's now their stamp. They want somebody that's emotionally intelligent, but a lot of times they themselves do not know how to handle an emotionally intelligent man because they've never gotten to the next level. So they've complained about an emotionally intelligent man, then they go to their girlfriends and have emotional conversations that engage in intelligent conversation emotionally. When a dude comes and expresses, "Hey, this is how I feel. This hurts me when you say this. I don't like when you say this. Could you now you being a punk? Now you not so there's this attack on him being emotionally intelligent because they've never dealt with an emotionally intelligent man. How do you share? How does a man become and remain vulnerably emotionally intelligent, working with his partner or working with a lady he's getting involved with, when she's trying to figure out how to deal with somebody that's emotionally intelligent that she's never been able to run into this full level of emotional intelligence before?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, I gave you all out on that one. Yep.
So
No,
so
that's
so
okay.
let me start the answer, and I'll let my wife finish the answer. You
Yes,
know,
sir.
I think you have to be very careful what you ask for.
Mm.
Okay, because men, we tend to overcorrect. Okay, so if I'm too hard, now all of a sudden I correct, and now I'm too soft. I think for a man, what we have to understand is a woman
Hold on,
is
Pastor Prince.
delicate.
I got you on. You froze up for me a second. I want you to come back and start with when a man comes in, he overcorrects. Start with overcorrect for me, please.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Men often overcorrect. And
Mm-hmm.
so if I'm too hard, all of a sudden I'll become too soft. And what I think we really need to understand about a man is this: women are delicate. They are not hard. They are not equipped to handle some of the emotional intelligence that is being asked for. What a woman is really asking for is to know how you feel in such a way that she can handle it. If we give a woman really how we feel, she cannot handle what we really feel because we are legalistic, we are rigid, we are um, uh, hard and coarse. And so I said something to my wife that to this day she will never recover, and I was being emotionally intelligent and said something along the lines, and I'll confess it if he's got to edit it out. Joy, you have him edit it out. But I thought I was being honest and transparent when I said to my wife, "I'm better off without you." Okay, and yeah, see your eyeballs getting big right there. And really, what I needed to say to her, what I really needed to say to her is, at this moment, I need to leave this conversation.
Yeah.
That's what I needed to say.
Mm.
That's what an intelligent human being would have said.
Mhm.
But if a woman asks for a man to be emotionally intelligent, she really needs to be careful that she considers what comes with that because we bring weight that a woman wasn't built to bear. My wife's not built to bear that statement. That statement's unfair to her emotional stability.
Mm-hmm.
And what I needed to make sure of is that at this moment, that's how you feel, Vince. But in about 45 minutes, you're going to wish that you grabbed them words and threw them in a trash can somewhere, because now your wife has to live with that statement for the rest of her life. So I say all that to say this. As men, we have to properly interpret what is she really asking for. Because she's not asking me to be she doesn't want me to be in touch with my feelings, with my true feelings. And if I'm in touch with them, she doesn't want me to communicate what those feelings really are, because they are momentary. Feelings pass. Feelings go places. Feelings don't stay that way. And we have got to be very careful that in the moment I can communicate in a meaningful way to her. I'm disappointed with the way this conversation is going.
Yeah.
And I need to leave it so that I can leave our relationship intact.
Yeah. Yeah. The
Okay.
thing that I would the thing that I would add to that is, one, we all say stuff when we're angry. And in that moment, he really just needed peace. And instead of saying I need peace, and what we have to understand is those statements that you said before throwing out he's a narcissist or emotionally and not
Unintelligent.
he's unintelligent. One of the things that I help women to really pinpoint is he emotionally unintelligent or is he emotionally uninformed?
Mm.
A lot of men have not been taught it's okay to express your emotions.
Yes.
A lot of men have not been taught this is how you express your emotions. So to tell me I'm better off without you was not, he wasn't emotionally unintelligent. He was emotionally uninformed. That this is not how you express your anger to your lifelong partner. This is not what you say, because yes, those words will stick with me forever. As far as the narcissist, I help women understand I can never tell you not to think he is a narcissist, but has he officially been diagnosed with that? If he has not officially been diagnosed with that, then we need to take an examination. I do personality trainings. The misuse of one of the personalities is they are selfish, self-absorbed. They don't know how to consider anybody else. They wear their sacrifice and their sacrifice only as a badge of honor. And so it will always be about them. It will always come back to how they feel. And so I help them understand that before we say, pinpoint, unintelligent, uninformed, let's go through this process first. And then we can say, okay, he's emotionally unintelligent. But unintelligent doesn't mean, if that man is willing to grow, it doesn't mean that you cannot inform him of how to become intelligent for you, because everybody's intelligence is different. How I perceive it is different.
That was actually my next question. I'm glad you said that. When we get to a situation where I gotta wait for him to figure it out, and we've heard this before. I don't have time. I'm 33. I'm 35. I don't have time to wait for no man to grow up or grow up in this area of life. But what you said earlier, both of you guys said earlier, was that this is about us serving one another, and this is about loving one another and providing for one another. If you're going to be in a relationship, that person isn't perfect, and neither are you. So we have to make adjustments for one another and be willing to slow down or speed up for one another to walk in the same path and in the same direction. So when you get to someone that says just what I stated, I don't feel like waiting for that person. Uh, what do you say to that person when they tell you that?
Well, here's the deal. The reality of this is that none of us are a finished product.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Neither myself or Joy, even 33 years in, we're not a finished product. But a red flag for any woman would be a man who's not willing to grow.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are in relationship with a man who is satisfied with where he is and says, I ain't never gonna change. I am who I am. And there's no indicator that there is going to be future development, that's a red flag,
Right.
because that man is not looking to be better than what he is today. And she needs to be, and if a man is looking for a wife, if she's at the place where I'm just going to be the way I'm going to be, well, your needs are going to change, buddy. When you get married, your life is going to change. The things that are going on with you are going to change. If she's not willing to change with you, if he's not willing to grow with you, well, that's a red flag right there. But if there's an understanding that, hey, I'm working on this part of my life, I'm working on this, I'm trying to be better, we can grow together. And so you have to be an investigator. You got to find out these things before you accept a proposal. You need to know certain things about a human being. And here's the issue that most people have, this is men and women, is that once they got enough information and they know that they're not going to marry this person, they do not have the guts or the courtesy or the appreciation for another person to say, we're not headed there. Yeah. So we can be friends until I get married. Yeah. But I'm not marrying you. Right. And there needs to become this mutual respect for human beings where we stop wasting people's time. Mm-hmm. Because Mr. Forever and Mrs. Forever could be in your orbit right now, and you're not speaking to them. You're not creating a relationship with them because you have pledged allegiance to someone you're not going to marry. Right. You got to stop fooling around. This is a serious thing, because you might feel comfortable and you're like, well, until I find a better train, I'm going to stay on this train. The problem is you are impeding that person from finding their destiny. Right.
While you're doing damage to yourself. Wow.
Of course.
Yeah. Let me ask you, with this title that we have of this seminar, um, will he die for you masterclass? You said very early in the beginning that of our podcast today that as the man is an example, he's laying down his life, and you said, Pastor Joy, that when he is laying down his life, we're reflecting what he's giving. So in him dying, it also is helping the woman be able to also have areas of life where she needs to die and recognize the sacrificial things that are taking place that allows her to die as well. Is that fair to say? Is that a point?
Yes, that's a very fair statement to say. Okay. Because one of the things that Jesus asked us to do was to be like him. But he modeled before us what being like him looked like.
Yeah.
He washed people's feet. He didn't expect for somebody else to come in the room and to wash his feet. He washed people's feet. Listen, I have to be honest. My husband actually does probably 60 to 70% of the cooking in the house.
All right, I need to come back.
And I do about 30% of it. I mean, talking about like the family, right? But here's the thing: we have also found our groove, and that's very important because for us that works. I am a cleaner, so he will wash the clothes, I will fold them, gotcha. and he will cook, and I will clean up the kitchen and everything. But he's modeling to me what a servant looks like, and when it's can you cook for my mom, or we're caretakers to her, or something. I've already seen him cooking for the household. I don't have to fight against this and just say, oh, that's supposed to be my role to do. I don't have to do that. He has modeled something. Something else he's modeled is he has submitted faithfully to our pastor, to another man, our pastor, let me say our pastor, not just to any man. And when it was time for me to yield in what I thought and believed, he had already modeled it to me. He had already modeled it. So when we talk about would he die for you, it's not that the wife, the woman doesn't sacrifice at all. She does. But we have, I have to be honest, we as Christians and Christian leaders, let me say, have done a bad job with saying, go get a godly man. A godly man doesn't mean that's the right man.
Not the right man.
Yes.
A godly man has to have certain characteristics. And I have to be ready. And part of this, will he die for you? Not only are we diving into what the man has to have, but there is a session helping the women understand they have to be ready for Mr. Forever. They have to be ready for this kind of man. So we're going to go over the reflection of the heart. Are you really ready, or are you just married to the idea of
Mm.
Mm.
All right, so that's where we was going anyway. Joy been on my stuff, like you've been on my last. You've been ahead of me like the last 3 points, man. I'm like, come on now, let me get my stuff
Okay,
out
I'm
here.
sorry. All right.
So this is what I want to do. In these last few moments that we have, and you've done it already. Just a little bit more. Will He Die for You masterclass is happening Saturday, this coming Saturday, February 28th. It's a seminar slash webinar that they can go online and link in and go from there. Kind of give us what are we expecting? What time does that start? And then what are we going to expect through that process?
All right, so the seminar starts at 9 a.m. We're going to go from
Okay.
9 a.m. to 12 noon. And we'll be generous. I'm pretty sure we'll go past noon, but we just want to give the ladies as much information in this condensed period of time as possible. There are going to be three major components. We're going to talk about the blueprint of a ready man. We're going to talk about the blind spots of the heart. And we're going to talk about moving from waiting to walking in purpose. And so those are your three main topics. I think they're revolutionary because of the fact this, you know, the reason why it's called Will He Die for You is because so many women have had to lay down their lives for a man. And so you hear this huge complaint. I gave up my career. I gave up my family. I gave up this. I gave up that, only to be disappointed with what they gave all that up for. So, in other words, they felt like they laid down their lives, but they didn't see it happen in kind. Okay.
Gotcha.
And a real relationship means that we're going to the altar together.
Yeah.
And so that's why we talk about will he die for you? Because listen, if you know he's not going to die for you, if you know that he's a selfish man, if you know he's looking out for himself and you married him anyway, then hey, you did it. You knew it. You understood it. But what we have a lot of times is women say this after the marriage has fallen apart. I didn't know.
Right.
We are providing the platform so that they can know. You can know.
Right. And we're also going to dive into, like you said, the blind spots of the heart. This is really going to help with why do we ignore the warning signs? And so you get later on in the marriage, and I can tell you right now, everything that my husband does, good and bad, I can trace it all the way back to when we were dating. And so it is, why do we ignore these warning signs? What makes us, so when we talk about that blind spot, and then just that, that like Vince said, the season of waiting can feel like defeat. So we're going to take you from waiting to walking in power, and in purpose. So yeah, so it's going to be really good, and we're going to start at 9, and like you said, we'll go till 12. But anybody who has questions and things like that, we are willing to, linger around with them. Yeah.
And I've said this before, and I'll just say this one more time. Whatever a man is inside of the marriage platform, he becomes more of it. And so if a man is selfish, he becomes more selfish in marriage. If a man is overcome with anger, he will become more angry inside of the marriage. Whatever a man is, if he's fleshly, he will become more in his flesh inside of the
Gotcha.
marriage.
Yeah.
And
Gotcha.
so there's
Gotcha.
no way we're going to train it out of him. We're going to work it out of him. He's going to be more of it.
Yeah.
Okay. 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 Listen, I want to thank you guys so much for joining us on the
Oh, thank
podcast
you.
today. You guys have blessed us. I
Thank
believe
you.
this podcast. People want to hear this, and they're going to be like, "Yo, I got to get the information. I got to connect with them." So I'm gonna try and plug as much information as we can in our description. I want
Awesome.
guys to be able to reach out to you all and plug in, especially even after the seminar.
All right.
Give us the way we can link up to you guys for the seminar coming up. What do we need to do to register? How do we get plugged in?
JoyInspiresYou.com.
Okay.
JoyInspiresu, the letter.com.
Okay.
JoyInspiresYou.com. Immediately when you hit the website, the seminar is going to pop for you and you can register there. I know a lot of folks like, oh, it costs something. Yes, because if you don't pay a price, you won't value it. This information is too important for people to go to it because it's free. You don't pay attention, you don't take notes. No, it's going to cost you something to be a part of this so that you can value the information that's shared. And I guarantee you, there is life changing, life saving information that will be shared on Saturday. It's worth the 3 hours. Not to mention, if a person can't attend, if a person, for some reason, unscheduled, misses it, there will be access to the
Awesome.
webinar via
Awesome.
Zoom, via link, so that they can rehearse the information,
Gotcha.
get it,
That's phenomenal.
even if they're not able to be there.
Let
Okay.
me just encourage the ladies to make sure that they are there.
Amen.
Because if you don't pay the price for this, you're going to pay the price for being in the wrong relationship.
Gotcha.
And so
Yep.
I do want to encourage them. We are helping to save your tears, your time, your peace. That we don't want you to lose that because you feel defeated in the season of waiting, which often happens. In the season of waiting, we can tend to feel defeated, and we don't want you to settle for anything less than what you deserve. So we encourage you to attend.
JoyInspiresYou.com. Go on the website, sign up right now. Time is running out.
JoyInspiresYou.com.
Yes.
Pastor Briscoes, both of you all, Lady Joy and
Yes.
and Sir Vincent. We thank you guys so much for being a part of One Tree
Glad to be a part of it.
Podcast with B.Wade. I'm so grateful for you guys being with us, and we love you. And to all of our family out there who's listening and joining with us, we look forward to hollering at you guys later. Blessings, guys.
Thank you so much.